The first study is called Childhood Dreadlocks, Dada Hair, Perception and Healthcare Seeking Behaviors. Right, the article I read it was a good read, and the author, let me tell you the name of the second article. The second article is Dada Hairstyle, Eugene Powerhouse for, wow, alright, Powerhouse for the mamiwater spirituality and spirit possession in traditional. I think they spelled the Igbo wrong. They spelled the Igbo with an E, but maybe I'm pronouncing the word wrong. Maybe it's something else. In cult religion of the Afghari people. So yeah, maybe it wasn't Igbo they were trying to say. I'm the only one that's just looking at it as Igbo. And if you get it right, well, kudos. Yeah, okay, yeah, you got it right. I didn't get it. And the basic gist is the first paper just talks about hygiene, and when I read it, the only thing that I could come across was some people neglected their hygiene, and so then they fell sick, and that's the whole connection of. I'm greatly grisly paraphrasing it, right? And that's what because of they neglected their hygiene, that's why they fell sick, right? And it was a clinical study of 273 caregivers in Enugu state of Nigeria, and they conducted the practice, and they found out that 45% believed in the Dada concept, which is they believed in the story of their elders, which, fun fact, you should believe it. And they practiced in 2 sites territory, so they used 2 different hospitals to analyze this. And when they're talking about caregivers, they're talking about caregivers that have children with Dada, and they were trying to understand if they believed in the tales or if they practice in cutting of hair. And then the author goes with some recommendations like, okay, if you're going to follow this tradition and you're going to follow what they say, at least cut the child's hair after doing your spiritual practices, watch the hair. And they were just giving some basic hygiene recommendation, which the Nazarene vow literally said don't cut the hair. It didn't say don't watch the hair. So even when I was reading it, I was like, what does this have to do with anything? Why are we talking about hygiene? Again, going back to the stereotype, right? Going back to the stereotype about the hair. And so they suggested in their study that whenever the child with the Dada is sick, where do they go first? They found out that 11% went to a prayer house. They also said 46% do not give their children vaccines, right? 46, not my word, is the researcher's word. These numbers are correct, right? 46% are anti-vaxxers, right? This could become a thing in the US. Like, let's look for all those well, California's already anti-vaxxers already, so that's already a thing down here. So don't worry, if you're scared, you can run down here. All right, they said 11 again went to prayer's house, and if the child is sick, they didn't go to the hospital. Listen, this is what I'll say: prayer houses work, okay? I'm a believer. And less than 1% gave doctors the time of day. When they mean they gave doctors the time of day, they gave modern MD doctors the time of day, but they went to the traditional doctors. And those people in the traditional house, they have traditional healings. There was a guy, like, when I was talking about traditional healers, no, these guys, they're real. I kid you not. I met 2 people. They broke their hands similar way. One went to the west and they put the cast, and the hand couldn't do a whole lot of stuff. And then another one that was in the village broke his hand, because we're talking about it in the room in our hostel. And the other one broke his hand similar, even worse. And then he said he went to a traditional place, and using sticks, woods, and herbs, you wouldn't even tell that he broke the hand. You wouldn't tell that he broke it. So I think the research, not critiquing the researcher, please do not go in and drop bad notes for the researcher. But I think the researcher really short-handed the traditional healers, because the traditional healers use herbs, and those herbs, they do work. This is not a medical advice podcast. Take everything with a grain of salt. Just allegedly, maybe, perhaps.